Hello and welcome to the Charles River Conservancy Parkland show. My name is Renata von Tscharner. I'm the founder and president of the Conservancy, and we're going to talk about something that is very dear to my heart, and that is swimming in the Charles River. And I have with me today the man who knows a lot about swimming in the Charles. Frans Lawaetz, welcome.
Thank you. It's very nice to be back on the show.
And Frans is the founder and president of the Charles River Swimming Club. Yes, you're hearing right, there is such a thing as the Charles River Swimming Club. And swimming in the Charles is something that the Conservancy has been pursuing since it was founded 12 years ago, and is something that I think is a very exciting prospect. Right now it's not legal to swim unless it's part of the swim race that is coming up, and you will be talking about that. So let's put things a little bit in context, and we are looking at the map of the Charles, and there used to be swimming places all up and down the river. People used to swim in the river not because it was clean, but because they didn't know that the river was really dirty. And the book Inventing the Charles River, which was co-published by the Conservancy and the MIT Press, describes one of the many of the beaches that were along. Of course, there was Magazine Beach, and there were many other beaches along the river. For instance, here we're looking at a beach, and you see the map underneath shows us that this is on the Esplanade today. In the background, you see the Craigie Bridge, which at the time it didn't have the Museum of Science in front of it. So that was, the whole area was a beach area, a very exciting beach area. And then we have Magazine Beach is in the foreground on the left, and the close-up here you see the pool, the now DCR pool, and the Magazine Beach former beach house, boathouse, and here the people using Magazine Beach, a very popular beach indeed. And here is the old bathhouse. The area used to be called Captain's Island, and the bathhouse is still there. It's boarded up, but it's waiting for new life, and there's actually a show on the Conservancy's YouTube. There is a YouTube show with Cassie Susie, who is working hard on bringing Magazine Beach and the beach house back, and Cambridge CPA fund and matching funds from DCR will help to do a survey and restore the roof and bring this building back to life. So that's a very exciting project.
It is exciting.
It is wonderful. And there were other swimming areas. There were areas in the river which were enclosed, because with the tide coming in and out until 1910, the river could flow so fast it wouldn't have been safe to be in the river without protection. And here we have two bathhouses below the Longfellow Bridge, a woman's bath and a man's bath, where swimming was indeed very popular. And then came the famous sign here in 1955, "No bathing, the beach is closed," which was a big shock for many people, and today a lot of people still remember swimming in the Charles.
Yes, it's true.
And I think you've met some that probably told you about it.
Yeah, it's an interesting generational gap in terms of the experiences that people have. The people that used to be able to swim have very fond memories of it, but the people that grew up in a time when there was no swimming don't think very highly of swimming in the river because they saw it at its most polluted. But now we're coming to a new phase in the river where people are beginning to swim, at least in sanctioned events like the swimming race.
Yeah.
And I think that's starting to pique the interest of the general public in terms of being able to get back in the river on a hot summer's day.
Yeah, but in order to get there were quite a few steps involved, and like all complicated things, sometimes it helps to get some legislation passed. And with the help of former Mayor Alice Wolf, who then became a state rep, legislation was filed. It was vetoed on the last day of the previous administration, so it was refiled, and it did get passed. And then the governor, our current governor, Deval Patrick, appointed a commission. And this commission is now working. It's staffed by the Charles River Conservancy, and some very active members of that commission include John de Villars, who has been a fighter for swimming all along since he was at the EPA, and he declared in 1995 that by 2005 there shall be swimming, and we are getting there. And also another state representative who also represents part of Cambridge, Representative Marty Walls, plays also a very key role in swimming. She is a real leader in that field. And there are also experts on the commission, public health experts, water experts, the DCR commissioner is on it, and as quite a few other legislators. So it's a great commission to look at how swimming can be brought back, where swimming can be brought back, and a place where swimming is happening for the swim race is here on the Esplanade. And parallel to that effort, to the legislative effort, has been the effort to create data to allow predictability, because it's no good to know that you shouldn't have been swimming yesterday. You really want to know that whether you can swim today. So to have good data, the Conservancy worked with CRWA and particularly with Northeastern University. Freddie Hellberger and his students and PhD students worked on daily water testing so that we have a good database and we know how weather, how rain affected. So tell us, before you organize a swim, how you have to make sure that the water is fine for swimming.
That's right. And I think at this point in time, that's one of the primary reasons why swimming at large isn't allowed, is just because we don't really have the mechanisms in place to say at any given day it's safe to swim. So for the purpose of the swimming race, we have water testing in the days leading up to the swimming race, and then we have a quota, so to speak, of the amount of rain that can fall between the time of the last test and the time of the race. And if we go over that quota, we don't have the race. But if the results came in good and we don't have too much rain, then the race can proceed. Mm-hmm.
So tell us a little bit about races in the past. You've been involved since the beginning. So the first race was a very dramatic race. It was the first in, I don't know, 50 years probably.
Yeah, I don't actually know if there was sanctioned racing back in the river in the day. Maybe there was. But yep, 2007 was our first swim. At that time we had a cap of about 100 participants, and I think we had about 65 people swim. So that was an exciting day. And coming up this year, 2012, we have 150 people signed up. So it's going to
you already have your quota. You already fully signed up.
Right. Yeah. Well, actually, we have about 10 slots left, but at the rate that they've been filling, we're sure to get there in the next few weeks.
So if you haven't signed up, you want to make sure you put that on your calendar for next year and start training, because not just anybody can jump in. You have to be quite a good swimmer.
A mile is a distance, I have to say. Even if you're a somewhat regular swimmer, swimming a mile in the open water can be challenging. And swimming a mile in a pool is, of course, a different story than swimming a mile out in the river. So
well, we'll see some swimmers. Let's move on here to people getting ready. Are there about the same number of men and women swimming?
It's funny. It changes from year to year.
Yeah.
I think this year we have slightly more men, but in the past we've had slightly more women.
Mm-hmm. And you are a swimmer yourself.
I am. I can't say that I am a great swimmer, but I do swim. And my primary attraction to bringing about the swimming club was really to facilitate the reintroduction of general swimming, but the race is a handy mechanism for putting some people in the water to start.
Yeah, and it's I think, like whenever you introduce something new, it's a bit scary.
Yes.
But here people jumping in, and we see some people in wetsuits, others not. What do you recommend for people?
It really comes down to personal preference and what you know. The water temperature varies a lot from year to year, of course, because it's Boston and you never know what your spring is going to be like.
And it changes dramatically from,
it does, yes.
from June to September. It can
Yes.
get very warm, the water.
Yep, and all it takes is a week of high temperatures to really make the river heat up. But so far we've had very cool weather, so I expect we'll have a few people switching back into the wetsuit category. But there's plenty of people that, regardless, will swim without.
And tell us whether you wear a wetsuit or not. That puts in a different category.
That's correct. Yeah, there is an advantage to swimming with a wetsuit.
There's less friction. Is that what it is?
Probably less friction, but you also have the flotation.
The buoyancy.
Yes, the buoyancy.
Yeah, and we have a picture here of the people swimming. Now, in order to make that event happen, quite a few people are involved. Above all, it's wonderful to have the full cooperation of the DCR, the Department of Conservation and Recreation, because the river and the parklands are under their guidance, and they have been wonderful partners. Now we also see some kayaks out there, and these are also volunteers from community boating.
These are volunteers from the general community, but community boating is a great supporter of ours, and they let us make use of their kayaks for the purpose of the race.
And are you still looking for volunteers, or are you?
We are, actually. We are looking for some people to volunteer on race day. It's a bit of an early start, 6:30, 7 in the morning.
Oh, it's a beautiful time at the river.
It is, I have to say. That is one of the silver linings of getting up so early, is you have the whole river to yourself.
And that's when the rowers go out. It's a beautiful hour.
It's a beautiful time.
Yeah.
But people can sign up at our website, charlesriverswimmingclub.org, and we're still looking for people that are interested in kayaking, and if you have a current lifeguard license, we especially want to hear from you.
Great. So this is if you're not a swimmer, but you like the idea of swimming and seeing what's happening, this is a wonderful way to get involved, because I think we're still overcoming the problem of loving that dirty water.
That's true. There is a perception gap, as I've mentioned, and it's very, very interesting to talk to people, to ask them what they think about swimming in the river. And some people, I think, just reflexively think that it's a bad idea, but other people, having seen the race, are a bit more open-minded. And if you go on our website, you'll see lots of pictures of people after the race, and I'm happy to say that they're all smiling. So
oh, yes.
It's been a good experience.
Yes. And some people probably have experienced the river having a brown color, and the brown color, it doesn't mean it's dirt. So think of the brown color like tea, like tannin, that is being picked up upriver, and from leaves and algae. So that is part of
that's exactly true. I would be very concerned if I were to go to any river and it looked like a swimming pool or Cancun. That would be alarming. So the color of the Charles is exactly the color that a river should have. There's lots of dissolved leaves and sediments and the like in there, and that's the way it is. That's the way it's supposed to be. Yeah.
Tell us about the years when the race had to be cancelled. That must have been quite. It's always touch and go.
It is. As I mentioned, our protocol does kind of lead right up to the morning of the race, so we watch the weather very closely. But another angle to take too is that since this is a relatively new event for Massachusetts and any large city for that matter, the protocol has changed over time. So we've adjusted it as new data has come in and as we've learned more about the behavior of the river. So I'm pretty confident that this year, given the cool temperatures that we've had and the sort of steady rain, which helps keep the flow of the river up, that we're in pretty good shape for having the race go off.
Yeah. So here is the another picture of the race.
That's the starting line.
The starting line. So it's not really a starting line. It's more kind of a starting group. Tell us a little bit about the people who are the fastest swimmers. Where do they normally swim, and how much time does it take them to go? They go up river first towards the Mass Avenue Bridge or the Harvard Bridge, and then they turn around and along the shore towards MIT, towards the Longfellow Bridge.
That's right.
And come back to the dock.
Yep, it's a big loop in the river. It's 1 mile, and it's sort of a square shape. We found that it's easier for people to navigate if they can go from just point to point rather than have to swim around many buoys. But it's a mile, as you described. You go upriver about a third of a mile and loop back and turn around right in front of the Longfellow, and then you head back to the dock.
So it's kind of more of a triangle rather than a loop. It's
yes,
you
that's
go
right.
towards the bridge, and then you go parallel, and then you turn around and come back.
Yeah, it's surprising how easy it is to get disoriented when you're swimming
Yes,
with your head down.
that-
We often find our kayakers chasing someone who's wandering off in the wrong direction.
Yeah, because you don't have the pool and the lines.
The lanes,
the
yes,
lanes
exactly.
to stay going.
Yeah, but
So-
to answer your question, our fastest swimmers can finish a mile in about 18 minutes, which is
All right.
very impressive.
Yes. And here we see Ulla with your banner. And at that particular swim race, we also had EPA's report card.
That's right, yep. So that is Ulla, who's the race director and the brains behind the race. And she is speaking, and as you can see, that's the DCR podium, and they are a great help to us in terms of setting up on race day. And then right beneath that is the EPA report card, which has been getting steadily better. Still haven't quite cracked the A mark, but seemingly not going backwards.
Well, we see there in 1995 it was a D.
It was a D.
And it is moving upward, but it is a challenge because sometimes it is overflow when there's just too much water.
Yep, and it's an immense undertaking when you really think about what has happened since the sort of environmental cognizance came about and people started to care a lot more about the quality of their local environment. But to change all those sewer systems and all those drainage areas and lines, I mean, I don't know the exact number, but it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars.
Well, we've actually done started to add up all the money that has been spent by municipalities, by the state, by the MWRA on cleaning up the water of the Charles. And so far we have documented over $500 million.
Wow.
So bringing swimming back is really adding the topping that effort.
Yes. Well, it's great to know that that we have the capacity to undo so much damage that's been done, and of course, one likes to believe that the river's only going to get better. So, as future generations come along, the idea of not swimming in the river will hopefully be the strange idea.
Yeah, and much credit for cleaning up the river goes to the advocates, the Charles River Watershed Association, who has been working on that for 40 years, and I think it's now also the Clean Water Act is also 40 years old.
That's
so
right.
They started to clean up the river many years ago and have worked with many different partners. The Conservation Law Foundation has played a key role, and of course the federal government, EPA, and the state, the Executive Office of Environmental Affairs. So many partners have been involved, and the municipalities have paid for many separations of pipes. So this has been an enormous effort, and it's been very exciting to see all these efforts coming to fruition. I just want to tell a little side story here. What you see here is Think Swim, Think Swiss, bringing Swiss-style river to the Charles River. We worked with the Swiss government. You probably can hear from my accent that I'm Swiss originally. And swimming in rivers has been a tradition in the capital Bern, in Basel, in Zurich, and Lucerne, Geneva. So we looked at ways to bring some of this knowledge and excitement to Boston. And so we created these Swiss crosses. And when you look through them, you would see the Charles River, and you would see swimming structures, so you could imagine of how it would be to swim on the river. Here, this is the River R. We are probably less than half a mile from the Parliament away, so this river is a fast-flowing glacial river, and on any day it's filled with people swimming, so very popular. They also have structures. Here we are in Zurich, where people go and enjoy the river. So we are not quite there yet on the Charles River, but we did some testing at these 5 locations: at the Riverside Boat Club, which is near Magazine Beach, at the MIT Sailing Pavilion in Red, then at the Lee Pool, which was once a swimming pool, at the Esplanade Dock, that's where the swim race will take place, and then in the New Basin. And you would think that upriver the river is much cleaner, but it actually is the opposite.
It is. Yeah, I think if I understand correctly, the upriver portion is thinner, so the water flows a lot faster, which brings about some turbulence. And then once it hits the basin, it slows right down, and everything can settle out, which accounts for the difference.
Yes. Well, it's an amazing thing to learn about swimming. And recently at the commission meeting, we had somebody present an economic study of the economic benefits that swimming will bring. So if you're interested in that, you can find that on the Charles River Conservancy's website. Mike Nelson did an excellent job on this study. And we continue to work with Northeastern students because more testing needs to be done, and CRWA continues to do their tests. EPA will do testing. They will also be testing for the blue-green algae. So all kind of efforts continue on in this effort to bring about swimming. And we have a picture here of the former Lee Pool, and this is where the Esplanade Association and their 2020 vision study, where they envision swimming will take place not in the pool but in the river near that area. So it's part of the planning effort to make these things happening. And some of you might be receiving an envelope that looks like that. You might not be Joseph Smith, but you might be somebody else, and you have an envelope with a swimmer on it, swimming in the Charles, support the Conservancy, make it happen sooner. So our spring appeal this year is to ask people to help support the effort so that we can continue to work with the Commission and with Northeastern and the other partners in that effort to bring swimming about. And this artwork was created and donated by Caroline Neuberger, a Newton artist who I think really captured the spirit.
Yeah, that's a beautiful painting.
Captured the spirit of swimming. So you're not going to swim yourself, you will have to, you're running the race.
Yes, that's right. Although this year Ulla is going to be swimming it for the first time.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. First thing in the morning to get everything set up,
yes.
And then there's always the details that have to be attended to as the race goes on.
Yeah.
So we have an agreement that she swims this year and I swim next.
Great. And here we actually see the loop of the one swim race, but I think it actually goes a little
That's
bit.
Right.
It's
that's
the
right.
other direction.
Yep, this is from the Globe from quite some time ago.
Yeah.
So it's similarly shaped, but more triangular, as you noted now.
And also goes actually further upriver than this, picture shows.
Yeah, just a little bit. And and it goes clockwise instead of counterclockwise as shown.
Yeah.
And if you want to see it, a great vantage point is actually from the Longfellow Bridge, because you can look out right over the race course in its entirety.
And here is your website, the Charles River Swimming Club, and you can find information on there. And also these are the organizations that support us. The Boston Foundation helped us get the work going. The Mass Environmental Trust, you might have seen this whale on license plates. That's how this money is spent on water issues, and we're very grateful to the state of Massachusetts for this support. And then the RBC Bank, they have a green water program, and they have been very supportive of this effort. So I want to thank you, Frans, for what you started here and the wonderful partnership with the Conservancy and all the other agencies with DCR to make swimming happen.
Thank you too. The Conservancy has been a great help in putting on the race.
And I think we will also have the Charles River Conservancy the coordinator of the swimming, Karen Patterson Green. I think she plans to swim again.
Yes, that's right.
She has been
second or third time.
It has been a wonderful. She has done wonderful work for this program, and so go and cheer on the 150 swimmers. This is very exciting.
It should be.
Yes. So I'll see you on June the 2nd, and if you missed the show, you can watch it on YouTube, and many other shows. There are several about swimming, even one from 2007, and there are earlier shows of when people couldn't swim. So go and have a look, and thank you again for joining us.